I feel like we're all chasing after that elusive result on the first page of Google, right? We all want to be on that first page of Google. We want our content ranking there, and it feels like we're running a race that we will never win. But I have cracked the code on a few things that you can do to rank on that first page of Google, and I want to share them with you today. Howdy, howdy. Welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you're here. And if you want to learn all kinds of video and YouTube marketing tips, I suggest that you hit subscribe so you don't miss anything with me. And hit the little bell if you want notifications every time I release a new video. So do that. But today we are talking about how to get on the first page of Google. Cue all the crowd noises, right? This is something that I have people ask me all the time. How do you get on the first page of Google? How do I get my blog post to rank higher? Etc., etc., etc. And before I really get into the tips, I do want to explain that it is still very much so a guessing game, and it is still very much so up to Google what goes on that front page. But there are 5 ways I think you can increase your chances of getting on that first page of Google. So let's just get into it. The first and most important, literally the most important, because all of the other tips really kind of like come back to this one. The first tip is to pick very good keywords for your blog post and your videos. So here's the deal. There's this thing that's called Google Keyword Planner, and if you're not using it to create content, you are really missing out on an amazing tool. With this tool, you are able to go in and type in some keywords and get results of whether that's a good keyword, whether there's a lot of competition and a lot of searches for that every month or every year or whatever, or if that's a bad keyword, and you're able to get suggestions on what might be better. What's really cool here is that, we might be thinking, oh, okay, so the keywords for this are going to be X, Y, and Z. But what's really happening is that our audience is searching for it in an A, B, and C format. So this Google Keyword Planner will help you see that X, Y, and Z isn't perfect, but A, B, and C is better. And that will help you pick the best keywords for your blog post or your video. Now, the general rule of thumb here is we want pretty high searches per month. So that means how many times someone is searching per month for your keywords, and we want pretty low competition. So a really good example of this is my Trello tutorial video and blog post. It had a high number of searches per month, but actually had very little competition. So it helped my blog post and or my video get found on that first page of Google really quickly, which helped drive the video up through the rankings on YouTube, and still to this day drives a lot of traffic to my channel. So use the Google Keyword Planner, use anything you can to really search out what those keywords are people are searching for when they're searching for the thing you're talking about, and use those. So that's number 1. Number 2 is to use Yoast. I've talked about Yoast a lot on this channel, but Yoast is a WordPress plugin, and it's free, that allows you to beef up the SEO on a blog post. So let's say you pick these perfect keywords, and now you're just kind of shooting in the dark as to what Google wants. Yoast will allow you to go through and tell it what keywords you're optimizing for, and it will give you green lights and red lights on whether you're doing things the right way. And it will also really help you see what you need to be doing. So it becomes second nature to write a blog post, to have the keywords in the right places, to have the keywords on the images, all of those things. So use Yoast if you're not already. And if you're not on WordPress, I'm really sorry you don't get to do this one. And you should be on WordPress. Just saying. All right, the third thing I want you to do to get on the first page of Google is to record and upload a YouTube video on the same subject matter with the same keywords as that blog post you're writing, and embed them together. So this is actually the third and fourth thing, but I want you to be creating a YouTube video for every single blog post you put out. And this YouTube video will be exactly what you're writing in the blog post. It doesn't need to be read because that's not very fun to watch, but the content will be generally the same. So you put this YouTube video on YouTube and then you embed it in the blog post, and that creates SEO magic. It creates a cyclical effect that will allow Google to see that this blog, that this YouTube video are connected together and that they're both using the same keywords, and Google loves that. Now that leads me to number 4, which is to optimize that blog post with the same keywords on YouTube. Now that's why I kind of smushed those two together. They are separate tips, but they kind of work hand in hand. You want to make sure that you're using the right keywords, that you're using the same keywords, that you're doing all of those things that you should be doing on a YouTube video. So go watch all the other videos I've done on this channel that teach you how to tag and title and thumbnail and all of that. But you want to be optimizing that YouTube video when you put it on YouTube, because then when you embed it in that blog post, it really is like magical waves of awesomeness. The 5th thing I want you to do right now, I literally want you to do it right now. Keep my video up playing, listen to me, but then like do this thing to help you get on the first page of Google is to ditch the 404 errors on your website. We all have these. Maybe we put out a link to something and then we took it down, or we accidentally typed the wrong link into something somewhere on social media. We all have those things where someone comes to our website and they try to type something in, or they try to whatever, and they get a 404, oops, that page is not found. Well, trick here is that Google hates when you have 404 errors. So every time you have a 404 error on your website, it actually hurts your SEO for everything that's ever been on your website before in Google. So I actually tested this out a couple years ago and definitely saw that I had a blog post that was ranking on page 1 of Google, and I started having a lot of 404 errors on purpose because I actually wanted to see if this actually hurt your rankings. I did this for a couple of weeks. I was sending people to the wrong links. I was making sure people had a 404 error. I was having friends click on things, all of that stuff. And guess what? Within a couple of days of having this happen, my search result that showed up on the first page of Google was now on the second. And by the end of the 2-week experiment, it was on page 4. I removed the 404 errors on my site and changed them all to 301, which I will tell you how to do that in a second. And after a couple weeks, it was back on page 1. So I promise you that this is a determining factor, and this is something Google does not want you to do. They do not want you to have 404 errors. If you are on WordPress, there's an amazing plugin called 404 to 301. Now what this plugin does is it changes anything that would have normally been a 404, a mistyped URL, a mislinked URL, a URL that's no longer active, whatever. Anything that would have been a normal, oops, 404 page is going to go to a 301 page, which is a permanent redirect page. These do not hurt your rankings in Google. These do not hurt your SEO. So what'll happen is you will set up a page and it will just say something like, oh, sorry you landed here. That link you clicked on was broken, but feel free to search around. Go to my Facebook group. You can have whatever you want to on that. Mine actually says like, oh crap, sorry you landed here. This will be just like a standard page on your site, and you tell this plugin that every single time that it would have normally done a 404 error, that it's going to send it to this page that will wipe away your 404s, and it gives you a nice branded pretty way to still capture those people even if they didn't land on what they were supposed to anyway. So there's my 5 tips to get yo booty further up in the search rankings on Google and help you figure out this SEO ranking magical formula, because these are things I've actually done and have worked for me. Now, if you have any other tips on how to rank on that first page of Google, hit me up in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. And before you leave here, don't forget to hit subscribe. It means a lot to me. I want to know that I'm impacting as many people as possible with these videos that I spend a lot of time every single week creating. So make sure you hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.